I teach the bow hold, the first thing that I do is get students to see what it means to go flat palm, bent thumb. When a student first tries that, they usually try to go like this, and that is what we call a banana thumb, and that's what we want to avoid. It's kind of a natural thing, but we have to learn how to stand our thumb up on the end. So we take and we find the lines that are on the tallest two fingers towards the end, and we put our thumbnail, right on those lines. And as you can see, I can make a little rabbit. And the rabbit can wiggle its ears, and the rabbit can chew. Now the chewing motion is very important, because look at how my thumb is moving. Now let's put the rabbit on the stick. But before we use the bow, we're going to use a pencil. Flat palm, stick on the lines. Now notice these lines don't go straight across like that, but they kind of angle a little bit like that. So we've got the stick on the lines of our tallest two fingers, and we put our bent thumb opposite. And that's just like the rabbit we made. And we can make the rabbit chew, we can wiggle the ears, we can stand up the ends, we can do teeter-totters, we can thumb roll, we can exercise our thumbs. And that's what we call flexercising. So my students do this exercise every class. Stick on the line, bent thumb opposite, and flexercises, flexercises. We must do our flexercises. Now this flexercise motion might seem a bit extreme, and you might say, well, when do I play like this? But the truth is, you need to have your hand able to make every single position from bent thumb to relaxed thumb and everything in between, and that will give you a good smooth bow hold. So the next thing is to put this on the stick. We first do this at the balance point. It's a little easier to handle at the balance point. Stick on the lines. If we really found the balance point, the stick could sit there on the lines, but we want to be careful not to touch the bow hairs, so we're going to lift it up a little. Stick on the line, bent thumb opposite, stand it up. Notice when I stood it up, I stood up my pinky. Notice that the stick's on the lines. And now, flexercises, flexercises. We must do our flexercises. Here's another variation of flexercising, is to hold onto the tip of the bow. Sometimes we look at our knuckles and we talk about Kansas and Colorado. And as we're flexercising, when we bend our thumb, our knuckles flatten out, and that's what we call Kansas. But when we relax our thumb, our knuckles stand up, and that's what we call Colorado, because those are like the mountains of Colorado. So sometimes I'll say Kansas, Colorado, Kansas, Colorado. Turn that upside down, same thing, bent thumb, relaxed thumb, bent thumb, relaxed thumb. If you want to take it to the final step, you must slide the thumb down till the thumb stops in that little magic place, that little brown spot right in between the two black places there. And when our thumb is there and our stick is on the lines, notice our tallest two fingers kind of touch the frog. A few more exercises, such as petting the frog, can help make sure you're really on the lines. One of the first things we always do is learn what wrong is before we do right. Stick on the line, bent thumb opposite. This is very bad, and this is really wrong. What's wrong with this? Obviously, you can see this is called a banana thumb. And if I flexercise with a banana thumb, it doesn't do an awful lot. In fact, my whole hand is locked up. So simply by standing up our thumb, suddenly our whole hand gets loosened up so that we can have a wonderfully free bow hold. Now here's another common mistake. Flat palm, stick on the line, bent thumb opposite. Well, what did I do wrong? Obviously, I would go back to my flat palm, take the stick away. Whoops, what happened to this flat palm? What happens when you scrunch up your fingers is that your whole hand locks up. You have to make it so that if you took the bow out of your hand, your fingers are pretty much flat like that. So, back to our step one, flat palm, stick on the line, bent thumb opposite, stand it up, slide it down, and then give yourself about a minute or two of some flexercises. I'm demonstrating the flexercise holding the finger on the tip of the bow. It's very important that you hold this weight. You wouldn't want to do this because now my hand has got to take all this weight and it's a little stiff. So we want to make sure that the instrument is holding the bow up and our fingers are nice and loose and flexible. You can do a couple other flexorcising exercises, such as the spider walk, which is somewhat related to flexorcising. If you do the spider walk, you want to make sure your thumb stays all the time touching the stick and that the stick is on the lines. When you get to the end of the bow, slide it back down. Another good flexorcising exercise is to flexorcise where you can't see what you're doing. For instance, flexorcise on top of your head. Can you tell that you have a bent thumb on the stick? Can you do it wrong? Can you make a banana thumb? Can you fix the banana thumb? Can you do all that without looking? Flexorcise upside down. If you're having difficulty going upside down, it could be because you're going the opposite way and you want to make sure that you turn upside down this way. Notice when I flexorcise upside down, you can really see my pinky move. Now again, the weight of the bow is down. If I were to hold it up like this, I'd make sure I'm using two hands. I don't think you can do enough flexorcising, so every day I start out my day by starting like this. Flexorcises, flexorcises, we must do our flexorcises. Then I make my stick, my thumb on the lines, and I flexorcise like a rabbit a little bit. And sometimes there's even a little crack or two that can come out of my thumb until it gets real loose. And then I'm ready for the bow hold. And my flexorcising exercises. Another good flexorcising exercise is to hold your wrist stable and do all the motion with just your fingers and wrist and hand. Or hold your whole wrist stable and make those motions with just your fingers. So, I hope you enjoy flexorcising and I hope it's something you do every day.